Is anyone else worried that if we stop the filibuster, that the Republicans will get in there and then use that against us? Does anyone else have this fear? Well, I did, and I asked Josh Holland of We've Got Issues to come and please give me an explanation of why it's a good idea. Here was our chat.
I'm a very, very strong proponent of killing the filibuster. So maybe we don't. I certainly do. And I'd make a few points. First of all, as a general proposition, I'm in favor of small d democracy and taking a risk on small d democracy. I don't think that we need to we need more veto points in the system. We already have a Senate that is that accords more power to small states proportionally. There is a Supreme Court that is stacked with conservative justices. We don't need more veto points in the system. It is easier to control the Senate than to win a trifecta. So the argument that, Republicans are just going to turn around and screw us. Well, Republicans have won the popular vote for the presidency once in the last 28 years. Is that right? 28, 20, yes. Once in the last 28 years.
That's depressing.
And, they are much more likely to hold the Senate only and then to win the Senate and the House and the presidency. The history of the filibuster has been used much more to stymie progressive legislation than to stymie conservative legislation. Mostly Republicans, what they want to do is cut things, and you could do that through reconciliation. There's a piece in the Wall Street Journal today. It's remarkable. It is warning Democrats not to kill the filibuster because Republicans in 2017 would have repealed Obamacare without the filibuster. Now, if you'll recall, they tried to repeal Obamacare through reconciliation with only 50 votes, and they could not get 51 votes. This was John McCain, of course. Remember the turning his thumb down? That was in 2017. Wow. And then finally, the filibuster is a mistake. It's the result of a drafting error in the Senate rules in 1806, I believe. Under Aaron Burr, he was maybe distracted by being indicted for the murder of Hamilton. Like, that's possible. And they screwed up the rewriting of the Senate rules so that there was no way to move on from a debate, basically, to call an end to the debate. And nobody even realized that this could give the minority a chance to block legislation for another 25 years until 1830 something. So we've all internalized the idea that the Senate was designed with this filibuster to, keep the Senate was going to be the saucer to cool the tea, right? The House would be inflamed by the emotions of the day, and if they got carried away, it would be the Senate would cool things off. And that's true, but not with the filibuster. They gave the Senate 6-year terms instead of 2-year terms, and originally they had state legislatures pick the senators instead of having them elected by popular vote. So that they never thought, we'll require 60 votes for everything. And then the other thing to remember is this: the requirement for 60 votes, we act like that's normal and that goes back a long ways. It was only since Mitch McConnell became Republican Senate leader in 2007 that we needed 60 votes to name a post office after a war hero or whatever, right? Like, that only started in 2007. Before that, you could pass big bills with 54 votes in the Senate. It happened all the time. So if Republicans ever needed to kill the filibuster and were in a position to kill the filibuster, I am absolutely certain that they would do so. The bottom line is that you can pass tax cuts through reconciliation. That's their big policy. It only helps them to block Democratic popular Democratic initiatives, and it's very rare that we're going to get 60 votes in the Senate. So, just as a practical matter, there is no way you're going to get. And so now let's loop all the way back to the beginning of this, right? If Democrats do not understand that their choice is to be is to face just increasing levels of voter suppression, increasingly extreme gerrymanders, or kill the filibuster and pass the new Voting Rights Acts and the new John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the HR 1, the For the People Act. I mean, those are the choices that they have. They're never going to get 60 votes for those things in the Senate. It's not going to happen. I can guarantee you that.
If those things get passed, we're going to have a greater democracy where the people's voices are heard, and therefore Democrats are more likely to be voted in. Is that?
And I'll tell you one other thing. I think it's much better for Republicans as well. Honestly, I think that anything that forces them out of this trajectory where they're just going to count on restricting the vote to remain competitive, as opposed to developing a popular agenda, it's not good for them in the long term either. It's just not good for them in the long term. I think you'll have more bipartisanship if you kill the filibuster, because right now, if you're a Republican, there's no incentive to get on board a Democratic proposal in the Senate. And why is that? Because your base is going to attack you. Fox News is going to attack you. All the conservative media are going to freak out. And you're not going to be the 60th vote, so you're not going to actually push this thing over the top. But you could maybe trade your vote to be the 53rd vote or the 54th vote for something that you want in the bill. This is how legislation used to work, right? You trade, you do horse trading, you'd be like, okay, I want this, and I'll vote for this package if you give me this. And that is just eliminated by the filibuster, because you're either unless something is passable through reconciliation, you're either blocking it or there's no incentive to be the 54th or 52nd, whatever, in this situation.
Josh, I have to say, you watch MSNBC, you watch CNN, you watch the news, and no one explains anything about any of this. Like no history, nothing. Sure, you can read. Great. There's a lot of stuff on the internet that you can go read. But I do appreciate your time for making it clear about you've cleared up 2 NPR talking points today. I really appreciate
my job is done here.
Josh Holland. We've got Issues, the podcast. Definitely check it out. Josh, thanks so much for being on our program today.
Thanks for having me, Julianna. I appreciate that.
Thanks for talking to me about this, Josh. I'm Julianna Forlano. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I'm over. You can click the like and get some more of these cool conversations into your inbox if you like them. See you later.